It is my honor to introduce our next speaker, President of our Revolution, the spectacular Nina Turner.
Yeah. Hello, Progressive Oregon. How's everybody? It is such a pleasure to join you this evening and afternoon for you. I wish I could be there, and hopefully I will get to Oregon really soon. Over the last 60 days, I have been to 12 states, and best believe Oregon is on my list come 2018 to be there with you all. And to everybody that is watching from all over the great state of Oregon and really all over this country, that progressives would come together the Sunday after Thanksgiving to reflect and to plan, to think about what a progressive future looks like in 2018 and beyond. And as I have said, that we cannot jump over 2017 to get to 2018, and we have had so many electoral victories in 2017 when people said progressives could not do it, from the great state of Virginia to New York to Ohio to Connecticut to Massachusetts. Progressives have been winning from school board members all the way to legislatures all across this country. And that is because of the people like you in that room and people all over this country that believe in a progressive America that pushes, that lifts the majority of the people in this country. And that really is what our revolution is about. It is about transforming democracy as it exists and restoring it to the everyday people from all walks of life in this great country. So Progressive Oregon, oh my God, I just want to thank you guys so much for what you're doing. I did not have the opportunity to listen to all of your spectacular speakers, but to hear that so many organizations from across the spectrum are here in support of what you are doing tonight is a beautiful thing, because it is only through us working together collectively that we are going to change the tide in this country. I'm channeling so many great leaders of the past, and if anybody who's heard me speak before, you know that I really like to lean on those folks who have really worked hard to lift humanity. And I am feeling President Nelson Mandela right now, and he once said that it always seems impossible until it is done. And we are doing this all across the country. To hear that the Oregon Democratic Party is going to have a Native American caucus for the first time ever is a beautiful thing. And I hope that all other states will follow suit to make sure that our Native American sisters and brothers are not forgotten, as they have been so often in this country's history, our forgotten First Nation, first folks in this country. And even understanding what Thanksgiving means to so many Native American families, it is not exactly the same thing that it may mean to other folks. And we have to be conscious of all people in this country. I am excited about what 2018 is going to bring for this progressive agenda. We know that the overwhelming majority of people in this country, and I want to put aside political ideology before it could, because so often both political parties benefit from trying to drive a wedge between folks based on political ideology. When I tell you that I've been to 12 states in the last 60 days, Texas is one very good example of that travel, where I and Jim Hightower, who's a legend in Texas and also a member of our Revolution board, but we went from Austin, Texas, all the way to Tyler, Texas, 5 cities, 900 miles in 3 days. But Tyler, Texas, people might think, well, why would a progressive go to Tyler, Texas? You know why we went there? Because there are progressives there. And they need to be reminded, just like the folks in Oregon, that we will leave no state, that we will leave no sisters and brothers behind in our effort to build a nation, to create an environment, to restore hope, to revitalize trust, to push a progressive agenda every single place in this country. We are not going to leave anybody behind. And I am so proud of our revolution for that. And I'm proud of what I'm hearing for Progressive Oregon, and that you consciously knew that it is important to make sure that everybody in that state, from rural to suburban to urban, get the opportunity to hear this message. And so shout out to Uphill Media for making sure that that was possible. So for us, you know, I once said that evil never sleeps, so good can never take a vacation. That we have to always be on the mission. And that mission is electing people from the school board all the way to the presidency that actually care about the people that they want to serve. And that is what has been missing for a long time in the body politic in this country, that so often we come across elected officials who say one thing on the campaign trail and they do another thing once they are elected. But that we are working to make sure that that is not the reality anymore. That the types of folks that we support and elect to office will be accountable, not to big money interests. And I will say this, it is not about wealth. It is not that everyday people or the grassroots are against anybody that is wealthy. What we cannot tolerate in this country, what is patently unfair in this country, is excessive greed. That people will make money on the backs of folks and not care that the overwhelming majority of that wealth is concentrated in the hands of very few while other folks suffer. What the grassroots are tired of is exploitation, plain and simple. And it is not too much to ask for the working class men and women of this country of all ethnicities to be able to live a good life. Decent doesn't get it anymore. Good and great is what we are going for. And I firmly believe that the working folks in this country deserve to be able to take a vacation every now and then, deserve to be able to send their children to college or to trade schools if they have children, deserve to live in safe neighborhoods, and to believe that their children, once they get an education, that they are able to help to build not just a better America, but a better world with their counterparts from other parts of the country. And so we on the progressive side are saying that we will not leave a sister or brother behind, that we do believe that Medicare for all is not might, not hope, but is the order of this day. That we believe that we should secure a minimum wage in this country that allows folks to be able to support their families, that paid family and medical leave is something that we should have in this country, that it is time out for government to continuously give corporate welfare to corporations and not say a mumbling word. Meanwhile, when sisters and brothers in this country fall on hard times, they seek to judge those people instead of providing the safety net and being the type of country that we know that we can be for all folks, not for some folks. And we cannot, in the progressive movement, allow people to divide us based on race, based on class, gender, religion, no political party affiliation, sexual orientation, that we must commit ourselves to being together on the issues that matter for us. And for some folks, you might be at the table because you care about the environment, that you know that climate change is real. For some folks, you are in this movement because you believe that the injustices in a criminal justice system that only sees Black and brown people is patently unfair, and you want to change that. You might be in this movement because you believe that college for all is the way to go, that as a country, we need a paradigm shift that gets us to the action, that pushes public policies, that says as a country, from pre-K to college or pre-K to vocational education, we will support our young people in this country to make sure that we invest in them. You may be at the table because you care about campaign finance reform. Whatever brings you to this movement, just know that collectively we can make the impossible possible. And part of that is seeking to understand one another. I'll never forget when these last sets of hurricanes hit Florida and Texas, and seeing tweets on Twitter from people who claim to be Democrats, yet were celebrating that our sisters and brothers in Texas, and I give this to you by way of example, were suffering from the hurricanes, saying that they got what they deserved because that state went for Mr. Trump. I use that as an example because somehow in the 21st century, we have allowed partisanship and the disconnection one for another just based on who people supported in 2016 to divide us so much so that anybody would say that they are happy that devastation and despair hit a state just because a state went for Mr. Trump. And I say that that is wrong. In the great words of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, when he said that darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can. And hate cannot drive out hate, only love can. And even in our movement, even as much as we believe that what we are fighting for is right, and it is good, and it is just, that we never lose sight of somebody else's humanity. And when we start to lose that, then we know that something is wrong. We must be soft on people as human beings and hard on the issues. Now, if somebody is flagrantly a racist, i.e. what we saw in Charlottesville, that's a whole different story. If we have groups of people trying to bring us back to colored and white water fountains, that's a whole different story. But just to hate or malign or disregard the feelings of folks just because they believe differently from a political ideology and to tear them down for it is not the way that we should go as progressives, because when we fight for Medicare for all, we're fighting for that for everybody. When we fight for college for all, we're doing that for everybody. When we say that working class women and men of all ethnicities from all walks of life who work day in and day out in this country to make this country as good as it is today, that they deserve to enjoy the benefits and the fruits of their labor, we're doing that for all folks. So this is not just about who's a Democrat or a Republican or an independent. We are really fighting to transform this democracy, to reclaim this democracy for humanity. That is our charge. I heard one of the speakers talk about servant leaders, and I was so glad to hear him say that. I think his name is Mike, because that is exactly what we are looking for. That the greatest among us in terms of titles will be the servant. I often say that titles are good, and I really do mean that. They get your phone calls returned. They get you in the room. But we need people who have a title who understands their purpose. Titles are good, but purpose is better. And we need to have folks who are running for office who understand that, who will not forget when they get there what they ran on, that they will not forget the people that they promised to serve when they get there, that they will not sell out everyday men and women in this country for special interests, not to forget where they came from. You know, I had the opportunity along the trail to visit 3 or 4 cities in Wisconsin. And in Madison, I got a chance to talk to a farm family, to share their story about the family farm. And I want to share this story with you because it just reminds us that Medicare for all is not just for us as individuals on a personal level, it is also good for small businesses. And to hear Sarah share her story about how hard it was for her family to get insurance, how hard it was for her to get insurance for her husband in particular, because he is a farmer. How family farmers struggle each and every day because one spouse, more likely than not, according to Sarah, it is the wife, they have to work outside the family farm so that they can get health care, good health care benefits for the family. But if we had Medicare for all, that would change that. She also explained that when farm families went to the Congress a couple of months ago now to lobby, that they weren't just there to lobby for the farm bill. They were there to lobby for Medicare for all. That Medicare for all is good for them as business owners, small business owners, as it is good for them as individuals. That this is important whether you are rural, urban, or suburban. It is an idea whose time has come. And we will not relent until we have it. And anybody who believes that we can't need to get out of the way of the people who believe that we can. It is the moral imperative of our time. And so that is only one example as to why we need to continue to push and to support progressive candidates. That $27 model that Senator Sanders has given us, it works. And that if many of us pull together, that many hands make the light work. And that what we are fighting for, what we fought for in 2017, goes into 2018. And what we are fighting for in 2018 builds for 2019. And what we will fight for in 2019 builds to 2020. That there is no such thing as an off-year election. In 2017, we showed that very clearly at our revolution as we endorsed and worked hard to elect school board members just as hard as we did for folks who were running for legislatures all across this country, and just as hard as we will work for our endorsed candidates in 2018, whether they're running for local level, state level, or for the Congress, because that is vitally important. That in order to create and to build and to cultivate a progressive America, we need progressive mayors, like Mayor-elect Randall Woodfin in Birmingham, Alabama. We need to build a progressive America, one community at a time. And that means that there's not one level of government that is more important than the other. But just because somebody is running for Congress doesn't make the work that they do any more important than the person that is running for school board. Because for me, in my experiences, having served as a local elected official, as a member of the Cleveland City Council, I know firsthand how important it is to have locally elected officials who understand who they serve. And that level of government is closest to the people. So I want us all to take heart. I want us to know that what we are fighting for, that at times we will have victories, at other times it may seem as though we're having setbacks, but all in all, we are pushing forward, not just for ourselves, but for future generations. And whether you are in the audience today, or you are on live, or you're live streaming with us, that even if you yourself are not thinking about running for office, but rather thinking about being one of those supporters of people who do run for that office, that everybody has a place and a space, and that everybody's role is important. This is not just about the people who are going to be on the front line in terms of putting their names on the ballot. It is also about the activists and the operatives that will help those people be successful. All of us are in this together. We rise or fall together. And if you ever have had those moments, especially now, under the immense cloud and the heaviness, the weight that many of us may feel at this particular political moment, I want you to know that our solidarity and our strength lies in one another, that our mission is so high that we can't get over it. And our mission is so low, we can't get under it. And our mission is so wide, we can't get around it. That collectively together, we can make anything change for the good, that we can make crooked paths straight. I firmly, firmly believe that. And I'm saying that to you as someone who has been in this struggle for a very long time, and not just as an elected official, not just as somebody with a fancy title in front of her name, but as somebody who has been on the ground as an activist, somebody who has lived the struggle, coming from a family that was poor, understanding the struggles of working class families from a personal perspective. I get it. And there are millions of people across this country who get it too. And millions of people who want to know that those of us who do have positioning and cachet right now, that we are going to fight for them and amplify their voices to make a difference in this world. What we saw in 2016 was a disruption election. We saw that people were not willing to have business as usual. And so as progressives, we must continue to fight to show folks that this progressive agenda matters to everybody, that will lift everybody, whether they lean Republican or whether they lean Democrat or somewhere in between. And that we are not going to let political affiliation separate us from what we know we need to do to make this nation a better place. You know, I was fortunate to hear Reverend Bernice King when she came to speak before the DNC a few months ago, about 6 or 7 months ago. And she said these words, and I am paraphrasing her, but she said, what people are looking for is not whether or not somebody's a Democrat or Republican. They are looking for leaders who will serve humanity. And to that, I say amen. And those are the leaders, like those of you who are in that room today, or those of you who are listening to us and watching us via live stream, or people who will listen to us a little later, either tomorrow, 2 or 3 weeks down the line, that we all have a stake in leaving this place, whether it's Oregon or Ohio or Washington, D.C., whether it's New York or Illinois, whether it's Vermont or Hawaii, that we all have an obligation to leave this place better than when we found it. And I firmly believe that the progressive agenda that we are pushing, that we are fighting for, is the agenda that will turn the tide. I know it will. And so that in the spirit of Mother Jones, that we will pray for the dead and fight like hell for the living, that we will continue, in the words of Congresswoman Barbara Jordan, when she said, what the people want is simple. They want an America as good as its promise. And we will get that. We will continue to push and believe. We will continue to protest and plan, and we will continue to persevere. And we have some fights immediately before us, which is the GOP tax reform bill, which we know will suffocate the overwhelming majority of working class and middle class people in this country. We have our dreamer fight, our DACA fight going on right now, where we have almost 1 million dreamers who are on the edge because they don't know what their future may hold unless this Congress acts. We have our sisters and brothers from Haiti, who this president has just said he is going to send them back to a country that where the infrastructure there has not been rebuilt, to a country that cannot absorb them in a way that will give them a good life. We have our sisters and brothers in Puerto Rico and also the Virgin Islands who still need our help right now. So there's so much work for all of us to do. This is our mission. This is our memo. This is our call to transform this nation in a way that helps the overwhelming majority of its people, and that we must not relent on this, and that we can do this collectively together. There is nothing that we cannot accomplish. And so I'm hoping that all of you feel inspired, even when you feel frustrated. Feel as though the future is bright, even though at times it seems heavy. Because we are going to do this thing, one community, one city, one state at a time, so that collectively as a nation, we will forge an agenda that when generations yet unborn ask the question, what did we do to make this nation and the world a better place? They will see through the fruits of our labor that we did everything that we could to make a difference. So Progressive Oregon, much love to you. Cannot wait to see you in 2018. To all the partner organizations that are involved and engaged in this, I am so glad that you are here, united together. And I do want you to believe that the best is yet to come, because we are going to make it so. God bless you all. Love you guys very much.
Thank you, President Turner. How do we like that sound, President Turner? I would like to thank my co-host today, Eileen Reevy. Let's give her a round of applause. So this concludes the program today. If you have any of the PCP forms that's not been turned in, please set them at the front of the stage. What we will do now is adjourn for 15 minutes, and then we will resume the meeting of Progressive Oregon, where we're going to elect officers. So if you're interested in seeing the officers of the organization and their speeches, hang around. Otherwise, you're free to go. Thank you so much for joining us today in the room. Thank you, everyone on the internet who's watching from home. This has been an incredible event. Good night, everybody.